Shalom and aloha, peace be unto you, for the kingdom of heaven has come near unto thee. I am Eliah Hanavi, Elijah the prophet, and I had to get on here to share a testimony, something that happened today, um, a few hours ago. So, if you saw my past video, or one of my past recent videos, you will know that uh, I had an accident with the car about a month ago, maybe a little bit more than a month ago, but I was driving down the road and my front tire came off and was headed down the road ahead of me. But the same thing happened today, except it was the back tire. So today, again, I wasn't going very fast as I was driving, and I was on the highway uh, just next to the lakeshore, Traverse City, uh, and I hear a clumping sound. I thought I hit a pothole or something, but then my back tire on the driver's side was rolling down the highway ahead of me, and um, and I had practically no gas. It was on E. I was headed to the gas station, and when I tried to make a phone call, I see that my power is all drained and the phone won't make a call because it just keeps shutting off. So I had to stop somebody uh, and ask them to use their phone. And it happened to be a pastor who stopped and helped me out, gave me gloves, and waited till the wrecker came. And it's not really my car. I don't own a car anymore. Uh, my landlord's car I was driving. And so it's in the garage. We took it, had the wrecker take it to the garage to see if they can work on it and fix it. So the second time in less than 2 months that my tire comes off, maybe 2 months. I don't mean to say less than 2 months. I forget exactly how much, but it just how often does a tire come off a car? After the car was taken to the garage and the front tires were fixed and everything was checked out, then I took it to Tire Center because I had a doctor's appointment in Grand Rapids. The Tire Center had this wrench that they tightened it to specs so that I could make the long trip. So I'm suspecting foul play, actually. Uh, and here's why I suspect one of three possible reasons. Okay, the one reason being possibly that they want to kill me because I'm Elijah, the prophet. And we know that Luke 10:18 tells us who the Antichrist is. The Lord said, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. And Satan means the adversary, the man of sin. Lightning in Hebrew is barak, and fall from heaven in Hebrew is Obama, or it can be said Ubama. So uh, the adversary might be trying to take me out because I'm Elijah. Or the second reason is somebody in the government taking me out, trying to take me out because I'm a witness to the lie that they're telling people that there's something called HIV/AIDS when I discovered that they're lying about that. Uh, I was told 24 years ago that I have HIV/AIDS, but all my symptoms say syphilis. And the medicines that treat syphilis treat me very well without any side effects. Yet when I try to take their HIV medicines, my liver swells, I get real unlively. I become incapacitated because of their HIV medicines. So I've only taken their HIV medicines for a short few weeks, and then I notice my liver swelling, and things are going downhill, and I get bedridden. And so I recently uh, saw my HIV, AIDS, infectious disease doctor. And remember, when I say HIV, AIDS, I really mean syphilis, but I'm just using the term that they're calling it today. So the one I had now for about a year in Grand Rapids, Jacqueline Johansson, a physician's assistant, she just quit on me. No reason to quit on me. And I asked her from the very beginning not to quit. But a year or two or three ago, it was said on the news that they would have HIV eradicated within 10 years. I think it was during President Trump's term that I remember hearing that. And I thought to myself, oh, well, how can they have something eradicated if they can't cure it, but they have people on medicines that they say, well, you can have a normal long life with these medicines, which is not true. And so the only thing I could think of was that they're going to eradicate all the people that have it. One way to wipe a disease off the planet is wipe the people out that have it. And I found that the HIV drugs, medicines are just death medicines. And I thrive on the antibiotics, doxycycline, Augmentin, azithromycin, and penicillin. I hope I'm remembering all of them for you guys. But anyway, my doctor quit for no reason. No reason for her to quit, to give up. But they're going to allow me to see somebody else in that office, which is unusual. Usually when you're seeing somebody in an office and the doctor quits, they don't let you see anybody else in that office. So what's going on? Anyway, so they're trying to kill me because I'm Elijah. So that somebody came maybe and loosened the lug nuts on my tires so that when I'm driving, it would look like an accident. And that they don't know that I drive real slow though. Or they're trying to wipe me off the earth because I'm the witness that knows that they're lying about HIV/AIDS when it's really syphilis. They took a bacteria, Tryponium pallidum, a curable infection, and started calling it HIV/AIDS incurable. And there could be another reason, and has to do with somebody in Texas who is very angry, thinking that I prevented them from joining the military, and uh, and that person might have actually come up here from Texas and loosened the lug nuts to do me dirt. But I don't think so much that's the possibility. I actually think that it's foul play in the government because I'm constantly, every day, 2 or 3 times a day, I'm getting a phone call on my cell phone. When I answer it, they are there for like 3 or 4 seconds and I say, hello, hello. It's not a robocall because normal robocalls, they'll eventually a person will answer or a machine will answer and state what they're calling about. But this is something different that's recently started. That's I think started when this Secret Service contacted me about something a few months ago. So I guess because I'm a white Christian patriot, I'm on the government's watch list because it was announced that the FBI is targeting Catholic churches. They're putting in people. If you don't know about that, you need to come to a realization of what our government is doing. You have Antifa and BLM people who burn down buildings and riot and not being arrested. And if they do get arrested, they're released right away. But you have January 6th, you have the government making a scenario about that whole thing when they actually planted Antifa and BLM within the Patriot movement, and they framed them at the January 6th for the calling insurrection, but it wasn't an insurrection. And so you have patriots who are now in jail without a trial. They're being held all these months and years where they didn't do that to the Antifa. That's because there was a illegal election fraud with the voting system. The computers are an easy way to cause fraud in the elections. You want to give the people, American people, the ability not to have second thoughts about the elections, get rid of the computers, go back to the paper ballot, count everything. But they're not going to do it because it's so easy for them to manipulate the electronic vote. And anyway, so have the patriots in Washington, D.C. in jails without trials, withholding the video evidences that all the security cameras had at the Capitol that would prove that the patriots weren't having an insurrection, but they are painting them as the insurrectionists, and they're painting Donald Trump as the head of the insurrectionists. But so they're trying to do dirt to those of us who are white Christian patriots. And who's behind that? Well, you got not Biden, the crime family that they are. You have really Obama's third term, and he's a Muslim, and he's a homosexual Muslim. We know that Barack Obama was actually Barry Soetoro at one time, and we know that Michelle Obama was Michael LaVaughn Robinson at one time. So we have a Muslim behind the scenes person running the country with Biden as the front man. And we just had another train accident in the Dakotas. I forget if it's North or South Dakota with the chemical spill. You can't have over 200 manufacturing plants destroyed in a short period of time, 10,000 cows and cattle being killed, the poultry, millions and millions slaughtered, the contamination of the waterways and the derailment of trains. And my mother just said that in Philadelphia there was a candy factory that has now been burnt down. Big candy factory in Philadelphia ruined. So this is not coincidence anymore. This is actually an attack on our constitutional republic, which is Christian foundation. So somebody is trying to destroy the country in order to bring in a different type of thing, and that thing is already here. So you should all be aware of that. Anyway, I think I had a second attempt on my life through somebody loosening the lug nuts on my car tire. And a few weeks ago, the front tire came off, and now the back tire came off today. But the Lord has got his hand up on my life. And if Elijah and Moses are the two witnesses, they can only be killed in Jerusalem. So I'm still alive. They can't kill me here, but they can disrupt my life. And it seems like that's what they're doing. I've had some other things going on that seems kind of odd. Not only the phone calls with nobody there, but something else that you guys don't know anything about that I noticed something going on. So just want to pray about it, and ask any of you who get to see my video, please say a prayer about my life that God would provide, because the car is down now, and it wasn't my car, it was a friend's car. So there's no reason for this car to have had any of the tires fall off at any time. Having driven it for all these different years, just seems kind of suspicious to me. And so the two main reasons why that they could be targeting me is because I'm Elijah, or because the medical community in cahoots with the government knows that I know that there's no such thing as HIV/AIDS, that it's actually syphilis, and I can prove that they're lying about it. And you all should be aware that Dr. Fauci said when COVID started that it had a HIV component. So what did he mean by that? When I understand that HIV is actually syphilis. So did they infect everybody with syphilis? And So, I, I wouldn't put it past the people in power, the elites, who think that there are too many people on the planet, and we know that the Great Reset is about depopulation. You just have to wake up to the reality of what they're doing, and realize that the world we live in is a biblical storyline. It's not an evolution storyline. So we know that God told us the end from the beginning. In the beginning, Cain killed Abel. The eco person, Cain, killed Abel, the believer. And in today's world, you have the Cainites, those that are like Cain of old, who are killing people to save the earth. And the earth can't be saved. Only God can save. And we all know the scripture says that God is going to create a new heaven and a new earth. And so this old one is passing away, and he's going to make a new heaven and earth, and there's only going to be righteousness in that new heaven and a new earth. Only going to be believers. So we're in the time that's I think approaching the Great Tribulation. We're not quite in it yet, and here's why I say that. So you hear talk about 7 years, the last 7 years, and the last half of those 7 years, 3.5 years, is the Great Tribulation. But it has to line up with what the Scripture says. And we see that in the book of Luke, the Lord said, "These are the words I spoke unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses, that's the Torah, in the Psalms, and in the prophets concerning me." So here the Lord indicates that the book of Psalms are prophecies to be fulfilled. In the Genesis 6:3, the Lord said, "My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, that his days shall be 120 years." But Psalm 90 says, "The days of your years are 60 and by reason of strength they be 80 years, their labor and sorrow and soon cut off and fly away." So what are the 120 of Genesis? And what are the 70 or 80 of Psalm 90? Well, you take every 50 years is a Jubilee cycle. Take 50 and divide it into 6,000 years. 50 goes into 6,120 times. There are 120 Jubilees in 6,000 years. Excuse me, somebody just wrote something. I want to read it and comment on it. I'll get back to what I was talking about. We're in the tribulation already since warp speed. And then that's why our lives are so horrible here. Well, Annie, I don't know about that. We're in the tribulation yet. It's very possible, but here's why I say we're not in the great tribulation. We all have tribulation in our lives, but the great tribulation that's going to be poured out is going to be after the manner of the plagues that hit Egypt. Okay, God didn't pour out all the plagues on Egypt. He saved up the greater portion of those plagues for the Great Tribulation. And so I'm trying to point out why I think the Great Tribulation has not arrived yet. So everybody's talking about 7 years, but if you understand the Jubilee cycles, every 50 years is a Jubilee cycle, and the 50th year is the Jubilee year. Within the 50-year cycle, you have 7 sets of 7 years. Okay? Now, 1948 was a Jubilee year. We know that because the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, tell us what happens in a Jubilee year. It's called the Rite of Redemption. So I'm going to give an example. I'm going to take two pieces of toilet paper and call them lands. So this is, if you were with Joshua and the Hebrews, when they went into the promised land, they divided up the land amongst the people. And your family got this piece of land and my family got this piece of land. Now, over time, let's say this family fell on hard times and they needed money, so they would sell their land. So they sold me their land. And even if I, who bought the land, died, somebody in my family would have possession of their land. But the land was valued by how many years it was until the Jubilee year, the year of redemption, when even if I had died, even if the person that sold it had died, someone in their family had the right to buy that land back at the Jubilee year, the right of redemption. The land returns to the original owners. Israel got its land back. Excuse me, everyone. I'm doing a call. I'm doing a video, Dave. I can't talk. Okay, so going back to the right of redemption. The land returns to the original owners. Israel got its land back in 1948. The land returned to the original owners. So the right of redemption was a way to keep people from being impoverished, so that somebody in Israel who fell on hard times could sell their land. The land was valued by how many years there was to the Jubilee. So if you sold it to me in the 49th year, it wasn't worth very much because I would only have a year to work the land. But if you sold it to me in the first year with 49 years to go before the Jubilee year, then it was highly valuable because my family, I could use it for 49 years and make a lot of money off of the land. So Israel got its land back in 1948. That's the sign of a Jubilee year. Which Jubilee was it? We know that there's only 120 Jubilees in 6,000 years. Israel got its land back in 1948. That's the 118th Jubilee. 50 years later is 1998. That's the 119th Jubilee. Okay, the first year of the next Jubilee cycle starts in 1999. Now we know the Hebrew calendar and the Gregorian calendar overlap. So you have to kind of give or take some time, weeks and months, to know exactly where you're at. But 1999, the first year of the first set of 7 years. So in this Jubilee cycle, we've accomplished 3 sets of 7 years. We're into the 4th set of 7 years, and we're this year approaching the very middle of this set of 7 years, which is actually the very middle of the whole Jubilee cycle. 49 years, 50 years, 25 years, 25 years, but take off the Jubilee year, 7 sets of 7 years. So this 4th set of 7 years, we're right now, 2023, sometime between now and September, maybe October, November, will be the middle of the whole cycle. And God has always done things in my life in November. I have lots of videos talking about some of the incidences in my life. And so maybe we're off a month or two, some people might say, because I talked about it in my other videos, but the Earth has another cycle that you take from the North Pole to the South Pole, and where it points, that line, to that constellation. Well, in the time of Moses, we're 2 constellations removed from where it used to point. So that would mean 2 months off. So anyway, the Great Tribulation has not yet started, in my opinion. And the rapture has to take place before the second half. And the tribulation may be the 7 sets of 7 years. So that would be this last Jubilee cycle, this last set of 50 years, which started in 1999. And sometime this year, we pass the halfway point of this 7-year cycle and the halfway point of the whole Jubilee cycle. So the Great Tribulation we're not quite into, but this whole Jubilee cycle is a tribulation. But the Great Tribulation, for those who are left behind, is about to begin. And when is the rapture? Is it going to be at Passover? Well, we can make big case for it being at Passover. We can make a great case for being at first fruits. We can make a great case for it being one of the days of unleavened bread. Or we can make it a great case for the rapture happening at Pentecost, Shavuot. Or we can make a great case for it being at Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur or Sukkot. But whenever it happens, I think it's going to be very, very soon. And then the key word here is great tribulation. We're all in tribulation right now. Our lives all have tribulation. But the earth has been seeing uh, the nations have been seeing something done to it by the elite and corrupt governments. You don't have 200 food processing plants uh, burned down within a very short period of time in the past couple of years. You don't have 10,000 cows dying in one night. And you don't have, think about it, people. So there's an avian flu or something, a bird flu, right? So they find one dead bird in a place where there's millions of chickens. You know what? Why would you kill all those chickens? The strong survive, right? If you believe in evolution, then the sick are going to die off, right? But why would you kill all of them? The very sick ones that could resist it, you're killing off too? That doesn't make sense. They're killing off the chickens to depopulate the food supply. And so it's not about saving us from the chicken flu, not at all. Think about it. You know, you get one infected chicken or two and they die. But then you go and kill all the others when many of those others might have natural resistance and you should let them live so that they could populate, doesn't make sense. So anyway, um, uh, so that's where we're at. Uh, uh, so I'm without a car and um, I'm being called all the time by either the Secret Service or the CIA or the FBI, which I think is behind the lug nuts being loosened. And so I talked to the police today. Now I have to go to my local sheriff in my county and tell them I suspect foul play. And I have good reason to believe it. So anyway, if you all would keep me in your prayers, I'd appreciate it. And if you need any prayers, comment, leave a comment, and be specific. God is in the details. The adversary is not in the details. The Lord is in the details. And so the Lord sent an ex-pastor to stop his car behind my car because I couldn't figure where the flashers were on my car, my friend's car. So I just had the blinker light on. And so this pastor waited with me until the wrecker came and got the car off the highway. So again, the Lord provided for my needs, and I'm very thankful. Thankful to Tiger Monkey, who you see that bag of IV solution. Well, he provided enough money for me to actually have purchased even though I purchased it years ago, I count it to him for his help because of how the cost of the saline solutions, the IV tubing, the IV needles, the penicillin, uh, and he supported me at one time in a financial way and helped save my life. And so I'm very grateful to him. And Tiger Monkey knows who he is. And so also I am grateful to all of you who have been praying for me. Some of you know who I am, and some of you probably are skeptical, but whatever the case, I'm still here. And the Lord has his hand on my life. He's had his hand on my life since I was a little child. There's no other explanation why I would still be here. Uh, so anyway, I wanted to get on and share what happened today. Another miracle. I could have been going down the superhighway at 55, but instead I was going down a smaller highway in Traverse City, 4 lanes, but I usually go about 30 in that area, which I was doing, and when the tire came off. So tire comes off and the it followed the curb, so it just rolled along the curb. If it was a superhighway where there's no um, like there's other areas where I'm not talking about superhighway where there's a big median between the two different sides. This place where it happened, there was a median, but the curb actually kept the tire from going over into the other traffic, which could have been a big accident. And but it rolled way down the road. It kept going, and so anyway, I feel blessed that the Lord has protected me again today from a major accident. and and he's provided a doctor that's providing the medicines, and a primary care who's actually a deacon too. So he's a believer, and I haven't had um, the blessings to have an infectious disease doctor believer. They the infectious disease doctors are very cold turkey people. They and the Jacqueline Johansson wrote in her letter to me when she quit, saying she's a doctor that follows evidence-based medicine, but they won't take my experience with the medications that I got from Israel as evidence-based medicine. So it's just their rhetoric that's their excuse not to do what is right. Anyway, I'm getting tangential. Uh, just thank you for your prayers and thank you for listening. And I encourage you all to be ready because we're approaching the halfway point of this 7-year cycle and the halfway point of the whole Jubilee cycle. And I think that we have to be taken out before this last half happens, where that is called the Great Tribulation. So 7 sets of 7 years. We've accomplished the first 3 sets of 7 years. We're into the 4th set of 7 years. We're right in the middle of this. We're approaching the very middle of this set of 7 years, and that means there's 3.5 sets of 7 years to be accomplished in the whole Jubilee cycle, which is, I think, the Great Tribulation. And so you don't want to be left behind. You really, 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 really want to be ready every day from here on out. Every day, morning, noon, and night, no matter what you're doing, whether you're at rest at home or at work, be ready so that when he comes, you go. You don't want to look back like Lot's wife did. She had the help of the angels to get out, but then she looked back. So when the Lord sends his angels to gather us, the elect, see that you refuse them not. Make sure that you keep your mind and your focus on going in the rapture, obeying what the angels tell you to do. If they grab you and say, come with us, go with them. If they take your hand and say, we're leaving this world, don't look back. God will take care of everybody who's left behind. And if our animals don't get to go with us, okay, don't worry about them. The great escape is the great escape. So just trust the Lord and what he is doing and his plan to be carried out. And with that, I'm going to sign off and say, peace be unto you, for the kingdom of heaven has come near unto thee. I am Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet. Shalom and aloha. And I love you all. I'm a lover of people. And if I could, I would have every one of you speak to another person and have that person speak to another person through the cordless coconut, the grapevine, mouth to mouth. We could reach everybody on the planet to have everybody realize that I'm here and that I've been sent ahead to let you all know that I'm here and what's about to happen, what the Lord is doing. And so with that, I'm signing off. You have a blessed and holy day, growing in love and holiness. You might be growing in love, but you may not be growing in holiness. Let's hope you are.